Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little bit different and honestly, a lot of fun. We're going to explore some genuinely fascinating research by stepping right into a beautiful, soft paper cut world. We'll be following our protagonist, a very tired, very anxious cat, through this cozy landscape to really get to the bottom of the biology behind seasonal depression and insomnia. By diving into the science together, we're going to uncover exactly how our internal biological clocks work, and maybe more importantly, how we can actually fix them when they break down. So let's crack open our storybook for a second. Picture this. Why is our feline friend tossing and turning in the dark right now? Well, the research shows us that the sheer lack of winter sunlight leaves a lot of people feeling totally drained, anxious, and completely unable to sleep. It's not just in your head, it's a very real, physical response to a changing environment. But to figure out exactly what's going wrong inside the body, we need to consult an expert. That brings us to part 1, winter depression. First stop on our journey, our cat visits the wise owl doctor in the paper-cut forest to try and make sense of this heavy, exhausting winter feeling. The owl doctor takes one look and immediately makes a diagnosis based on the clinical literature: Seasonal Affective Disorder, commonly known as SAD. Now, this isn't just a mild case of feeling a bit down. It's a verified clinical seasonal mood disorder, and it's triggered specifically by the cyclical transitions of the seasons, most notably that sharp drop in sunlight exposure we all get when fall fades into winter. It is literally fascinating to look at how the cat's body naturally reacts to this seasonal shift. Think about the bright summer days. That abundant sunlight basically acts as a battery charger, helping maintain a highly balanced mood and energetic days. But when those days turn dark and cold, the symptoms of SAD just completely take over. The research points out that folks dealing with this experience a huge surge in sleepiness, a really unusual spike in appetite, and just a persistent, stubborn, low mood. And the owl doctor is quick to point out something crucial. Our cat is absolutely not alone in this. The demographic data here is pretty wild. Did you know women are up to twice as likely to be diagnosed with this condition compared to men? It also heavily targets early adulthood, meaning you're at a super high risk if you're under 30. Plus, looking at the global data, there's a direct link between your latitude and your risk level. Simply put, the further away you live from the equator, where those winter days get extremely short and dark, the higher your chances are of catching these intense winter blues. Moving along to part 2, the biological clock. Okay, so to understand the why behind all this, we actually need to look inside the cat's body at the intricate paper-cut gears keeping everything running. We're talking about the circadian rhythm. This is our innate internal body clock. It's essentially the master controller for a multitude of physiological processes, everything from your daily mood to your sleep schedule, all operating on a strict 24-hour cycle. And the main time setter for this master clock? It's sunlight. So when the sun vanishes early in the winter, the delicate gears of our biological clock completely lose their synchronization. Yeah, without the sun's guiding light, the beautiful clockwork inside our feline friend just falls apart. In the summer, those little paper-cut gears are spinning so smoothly, perfectly aligning the cat's energy levels with the daytime. But in the winter, the gears literally become jammed. They start spinning erratically. And it's this physical, mechanical disruption that directly causes the lethargy, the anxiety, and the severe sleep disturbances we associate with winter depression. Let's dive deeper in part 3, melatonin. To really show us why these gears are getting so jammed up, the owl doctor opens a massive medical book. And what it reveals is essentially a brutal double blow to the cat's system. First off, the availability of serotonin, the famous feel-good hormone, it just plummets in the winter. And at the exact same time, all those dark hours cause a massive, overwhelming spike in melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it's time to sleep. So you've got plummeting mood boosters on one hand and skyrocketing sleep inducers on the other. No wonder our poor cat feels terrible. It's biologically wired to hibernate, but life keeps demanding it stays awake and productive. Which brings us to part 4, genetics and insomnia. But what is actually happening on a microscopic genetic level when our cat is just lying awake at night, buzzing with anxiety? Well, researchers looked closely at clinical data from patients suffering from insomnia combined with anxiety and depression. And the data is striking. It reveals a massive spike in the expression levels of one specific circadian clock gene called PER2. The levels in these patients are far, far higher than what you'd see in healthy controls. To bring this back to our paper-cut world, think of this elevated PER gene exactly like a stubbornly jammed gear in that circadian clock. It's not just a feeling. It is a physical, genetic hurdle that is actively blocking our cat from getting the deep, restorative sleep it so desperately needs to recover. Now for the good news in Part 5, melatonin treatments. Luckily, our owl doctor has a highly specific, scientifically backed solution up his sleeve. It's a medication called melatonin. Now, this is crucial. Melatonin isn't just your standard sleeping pill that violently knocks you out. Not at all. It's actually a highly targeted melatonin receptor agonist. By mimicking natural melatonin, it allows doctors to essentially reach in and manually induce phase shifts in the patient's sleep-wake cycle. It's a tool designed to quite literally reset the internal clockwork. Let's actually track how this works step by step over a 4-week period, because it's brilliant. First, the medication targets those specific melatonin receptors. Second, and honestly, this is the game changer, it actively downregulates that stubborn, elevated PER2 gene we just talked about. Third, by lowering PER2, it unlocks those jammed gears, inducing a healthy circadian phase shift. And finally, step 4, this entirely physiological reset results in deep, much-needed restorative sleep. And if you love proof, the clinical data here is just incredibly validating. Look at this. Before treatment, the PER2 levels in patients were absolutely sky-high. But after just 4 weeks of taking melatonin, those levels plummet right back down to a normal baseline. The gears are officially unjammed. This proves that directly fixing these genetic expression levels can quite literally cure the physical sleep disturbances that come with severe anxiety. Finally, Part 6, reclaiming good sleep. Now, medication is an incredibly powerful tool, absolutely. But our owl doctor makes a really important point. The cat also has to make some deliberate changes in its waking life to fully restore that vibrant, golden warmth of good health. We're talking about lifestyle synergies that directly support the biological treatment. Things like utilizing bright light therapy boxes for 20 minutes every morning to trick the brain into thinking it's summer, eating a diet packed with omega-3 fatty acids to protect the nervous system, regular exercise to pump out endorphins, and above all else, maintaining a strict, consistent sleep schedule to ensure those newly unjammed gears stay locked firmly in place. There's a quote from the research that beautifully summarizes our whole journey today. Restoring the circadian rhythm by ensuring a proper sleep schedule can alleviate the symptoms of seasonal affective disorder. Ultimately, what this tells us is that combining targeted biological treatments with positive, deliberate lifestyle choices gives us the power to fix our own internal clockwork. We really aren't just sitting ducks at the mercy of the dark winter months. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to take this to heart. Your sleep, your mood, your energy, they are all tied to real physical clockwork inside of you. If you ever find yourself feeling like our anxious cat protagonist in the dead of winter, you now know the actual science behind why that happens, and more importantly, you know that you have the power to reset those gears. So I leave you with this one question to think about. What steps are you going to take to tune your biological rhythm today? Thanks so much for joining me on this journey into the incredible science of sleep.
Knowledge grows through sharing. What are your thoughts on today's topic? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe as we continue to grow together.